the amount that they need to spend for the study, then their accommodation cost, their travel and visa expenses. For me, will be probably having an emergency fund for yourself. That is something which will save you from any, unforeseen event that happens.
Today, we are going to talk about something incredibly important, a small step that can lead to a secure future, a small action with a big impact. In this podcast, we will be having a meaningful conversation about finance, a topic that touches all of us. This episode is specially dedicated to students who aspire to study abroad but feel unsure about how to manage their finances. It's also for parents seeking guidance on when and how to begin financial planning for their children's education, and for all the dreamers who envision a future in the dynamic, number-driven world of finance. This one's for you. Joining me in this conversation is someone who truly embodies financial expertise, Kriti Khanna. She is a seasoned finance professional, a chartered accountant from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and currently serves as a finance manager at Cordis. Hi Kriti.
Hey Dia,
Thank you for joining us.
thank you for having me here.
Let's start our conversation with the big picture, smart financial planning. Now, when we use the word smart financial planning in the context of education, parents and students, as in children, plays a very important role in this. If you could shed a light on the kind of key expenses that a student should keep in mind and should kind of make a list when they decide or they make a decision to study abroad or in India in terms of higher education.
Sure, yeah. I think it's very important to keep in mind before you start planning for it, the kind of expenses you will be incurring while whether you're studying in India or outside. The major buckets I would see for a student to think about is primarily the tuition fee, the amount that they need to spend for the study, whichever institute they go for. Then their accommodation cost, their travel and visa expenses. Then they should also look at health insurance, very important, and especially when you're working outside India. And another part would be, for me, will be probably having an emergency fund for yourself. That is something which will save you from any, unforeseen event that happens. And apart from that, I think while students are there, they make social circles, they step out, they need some time to, unwind as well. So maybe some fund for themselves for keeping that social entertainment alive and, going out, spending time with their friends. So I think all these major buckets, if they plan in advance, that is very helpful for them.
In terms of students pursuing higher education in India itself, we usually do not have a part-time job opportunities, right? There is a full-time college, and because of the curriculum. If you could suggest to that students who decide to pursue higher education in India itself, how can they plan their finances in terms of budgeting, and how can they save up while studying? Because obviously there are book costs, there are a lot of expenses that they have to go through, right? And if they are not having a part-time job, so how can they build around it?
Right. I think the key to this would be planning well in advance. I would say when you think that you want to go abroad or even go for applying for any university within India, you need to plan this at least 18 to 24 months in advance.
Okay.
Always, I think, start with having a dedicated bank account in place. Start putting small funds in it over a period of time, which will accumulate and obviously help you later on when you have your expenses budgeted and planned properly. So that's one. And another thing would be to look for, now since Indian students specifically do not have part-time working opportunities, a lot of them here. There are freelancing opportunities available, by the way. But just assuming that you don't have a backup support as such. Second thing I think would be to plan or probably bifurcate your one-time expenses from your recurring expenses. Always keep a bucket clearly identified, because the one-time expense will happen right at the start. So you'll have to plan well in advance for that. And recurring expenses is something that you need to plan for over a period of time. So think about that. Another thing I think I would want to mention is for a lot of students, there are scholarships available, there are government grants available in a lot of universities. So you need time to research about it, plan that as well, whichever applies to your specific course that you want to go for. So research about that in time. That's why I think I emphasize on the planning in advance part. You need time to research well about everything else. And there is always an option available for these students offer education loan. A lot of banks and financial institutions offer education loans at varied rates. It varies from 8% to 14%, depending on what course you apply for, what's the credit score of the guardian, and also depending upon the amount, how much you need for funding your education. I think all that comes into place when you're planning for applying. So this has to be done at least 1.5 years to 2 years before you
make a decision
to
for
go
your
for it.
health.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we always hear that timing is everything. According to you, when should parents ideally start investing and planning for their child's education? Is it too early or too late for that?
Okay, so I think I'll talk from my own perspective. I have 2 kids, and the way I see it is, I think it's never too early or never too late to start investing or planning for your child's education. If you ask me, I have started planning for their education from day one they were born. And I would highly recommend everyone to start doing that from the time they're born. Because when you look at a period of 20 years from today, when they're ready for higher education, the value of money is going to change tremendously. There will be, if they're studying abroad, there will be currency fluctuations happening, and things will be very different 20 years down the line. So if you start investing right now, I think power of compounding comes into place. Invest in mutual funds, start small. There's no limit to the amount. You may have a certain amount in your mind which you want to achieve at the end of that period. Start according to that. Start small, but keep it consistent, keep it regular, and start right away. There are multiple government schemes available for kids, specifically for a girl child, which parents can start investing in. They can have separate bank account dedicated for it, and they have a certain amount of interest that they get, which is tax-free as well. So they can start investing in that. There are mutual funds available, which is comparatively a pretty safer investment against other instruments. So they can go for that. But my recommendation is to go for it as soon as you are aware of it, and start small. That's okay.
We discussed about financial planning, we discussed about timely planning. Now, if you could quickly create a financial checklist for students who want to pursue education abroad, what would it be, and what would it be?
So yeah, I think major buckets like we already talked about. Maybe I'll just break it down a little more. So yeah, your tuition fee comes into place, the first thing. Then you go for accommodation. In accommodation also, you'll have your upfront rentals. There'll be security deposit. There'll be maintenance cost as well. So plan for that. Then comes your travel cost, wherein you book flights, you pay for visa fees. Then apart from that, you have your social expenses, you have your emergency fund creation. Then I think your health insurance, your travel insurance, all that comes into place.
As rightly stated by you earlier, budgeting and planning plays an essential role. If you could share with students, how can they secure education loan, and what better than a dream combo, education loan and scholarship?
Yeah, of course. I think scholarship is one piece which will vary depending on the course they're applying for, the university they're applying for. So it has to be researched well. It has to be applied in time because a lot of students fail the opportunity of getting the scholarship because the application goes late. So be very specific about it. Then when it comes to education loan, there are a lot of banks and educational institutes in India which provide education loan facility to students. It primarily depends on which bank you're applying to. There are different interest rates available. It varies from 8% to 14%.
Okay.
It also depends on the amount of loan that you're applying for and which course you're going for, whether it's a job generating kind of a course or it's a hobby course. It all depends on that.
Okay.
Another thing that banks look for is your admission details from a certified, recognized institute, which plays a very key role in getting you the loan. Then it also depends how much loan you're applying for and whether that loan requires a collateral or it's a non-collateral value loan. It all depends on the value of loan you're applying for. There are certain loans that students apply for which are higher in amounts, which may require a guarantor as well. So you need to arrange and manage all that well in advance. Another thing I would want to mention is the credit scoring of the parent or the guardian, which again comes into play when the bank is granting you the loan. You need to be well prepared for the documentation requirement as well. It's a lot of paperwork here in India, so be prepared for that. I think these are the major things you should always consider while you go for it.
Sometimes you have to put something for mortgage also, right? If I'm not mistaken, for a certain amount.
Yeah, like I said, it gets covered in the collateral part.
Okay,
So
so
if the
collateral
value is
amount,
certain threshold, then banks would require you to mortgage something or put something as a collateral. It may be a fixed deposit, it may be an asset or something. So it all depends. Yeah, and the repayment terms also need to be negotiated, checked with the bank well in advance. They usually start after, let's say, most of the programs are like, your course duration plus 6 months or 1 year, depending on how the course is planned. That's when the repayment starts. It can go up to 5 years, up to 15 years, up to 20 years as well. So it all depends what kind of rates you are negotiating with the bank and what kind of repayment terms you want to go for.
Now, if you could tell me some top budgeting tips that you can give to students who are studying abroad, keeping in mind they already have a part-time job.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a plus having a part-time job, first of all. I highly recommend everyone to go for it as much as you can manage. Now, when it comes to budgeting and, keeping your expenses well planned, your savings well planned, I think it's very important to leverage on AI tools these days. First thing I think they should do when they arrive is have an international bank account. Why I say that is because one thing which I think most of the students do not pay attention to is the currency fluctuations when they're using their local currency into another country. Having an international bank account saves you from that. Second thing is, I think there are a lot of budget managing apps these days for students specifically. They can use apps like Mint. They can use apps like Splitwise when they're living on sharing with someone. Then there are multiple international banking apps available as well. You can take examples of Revolut, Wise, there's N26. All these apps are very commonly used by students living abroad specifically. I think definitely go for it. See what suits you and use it. Also, there are some student-specific platforms available, like internationalstudent.com. There are apps like there are platforms like Prodigy Finance, Advisors. They can make use of that, and I think they can very well plan the budget if it's all well thought of.
Now let's jump to the topic career in finance. When we talk about career in finance to a general audience, the fields that come to the mind is wealth management, corporate finance, and etc. and etc. But it is more than that. If you could share it with today's students? What are the up and coming career opportunities in this field?
Yeah, I think finance as a field is vast, it's huge, and even now, specifically with AI coming into the picture, it's even more dynamic, I would say. The regular traditional roles that are still there, that are surviving, is into the corporate finance field, like you mentioned. There are commercial controllers, there are planners, there are analysts, there are CFOs. Then if you go into accounting and auditing, there are audit advisors, there are analysts there as well. And that's one part of it. Then moving to the wealth management and risk and insurance area, there are portfolio managers, there are retirement planners, there are investment planners. In the field of risk and insurance, you'll have actuaries, you'll have underwriters, and so many other roles that one can apply for. Then I'll jump to the banking sector. There's commercial and retail banking. There is investment banking. There are credit risk analysts there. There are investment bankers there as well, analysts there as well. Then the most important and upcoming field, I would say, is the fintech and the data analytics field. This has quite a lot of opportunity these days.
Yeah.
You can play roles of all kind of controllers come into this. The business intelligent analysts come into this. Then you have your quantitative analysts come into this. So I think it's vast, and it's rather I think it's evolving as well very fast, along with the way technology is advancing these days. So you have to keep up with the technology and find new roles for yourself.
Any courses or any certifications that you would recommend students?
Yeah, I think definitely there are a lot of, specifically if you talk about the fintech and the data analytics field, there are a lot of programming tools that they can, upgrade in. There are a lot of visualization tools like Tableau, there's Power BI. Then you have data crunching tools as well.
Keeping in the current imagery in mind of this field, how does AI, automation, and data analytics are changing the game?
Yeah, that's a very, very, I think, important topic that is playing a role right now. Everybody's talking about it. And I think I'll give you very basic examples of how AI impacts our, everyday accounting and auditing practices. Like if you take simple data entry, simple reconciliation of two separate accounts, invoice processing, for example, and basic reporting, all that is completely automated these days. Nobody's doing a manual reporting or manual invoice processing these days, most of the organizations.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And like trend analysis, historical trend analysis, and providing strategic insights, that becomes so much easier when you have your groundwork ready with the help of AI. People are spending more time in providing insights, making decisions easier for the management rather than data crunching, because there are so many easy tools available for doing the basic tasks that people were spending time on earlier. So I think that way, if you look at the tools available these days, if you're keeping up with them, if you're aware of what's going around in terms of technology, it's groundbreaking and it's very useful. It saves your time. It saves precious time of people, and it basically pushes you from doing basic ground tasks from doing insightful and impactful tasks. And that basically challenges you to bigger roles like analytical and technical roles rather than doing the basic stuff. So that's absolutely amazing.
According to you, in this ever evolving field of finance, what key skills student needs to thrive in this career?
Right. I think I'll start with the very basics. I think for any finance professional, for that matter, understanding of the financial statements, having a basic understanding or capability to interpret them and put them to use, reading the valuation statements. All this comes as a very basic, which AI cannot do for you, right? This has something to do with your own understanding. Then when it comes to AI, there are a lot of programming tools available in the market like Python, like R. Then you have your data crunching tools like SQL, you have advanced Excel in place. For visualization also, there are a lot of tools like Power BI, like Tableau, which are very good advanced tools for reporting, for providing insights. All this, I think, if you have access to these skills, it gives you an edge over other peers in the market. But at the same time, I think I'd like to highlight one more thing. It's great to be dependent on AI, but not completely, because it also comes with its own challenges.
Yeah.
You need to have regular governance, a strict governance over the tools that you're using to ensure that they are still reliable. They are providing you correct data, because a lot of organizations are highly dependent on these tools. So in the background, I think there is a check that needs to be there on these tools as well. Then, but I think, in short, what I would want to say is that AI is something which I strongly believe that it's not something which is replacing, finance professionals here. It's rather enabling them to, move towards better and strategic roles, technical roles. So it's rather reshaping their careers instead of replacing it. That's something that everyone needs to be, keeping in mind, rather than being scared of the technology or the change that's happening around.
Like graph is completely changing,
Yeah.
but in a good manner.
It's definitely going to be very beneficial for everyone around. It's saving time, it's saving energy, it's putting you in the right direction, I feel, if it's used well.
Now tell me this, how important is certifications, networking, and internships to thrive in this field?
Right. I think everybody is on social media these days. So it's not difficult for students to have a kind of, a specific LinkedIn profile dedicated to build the networks. This is one a very important leg that I think every professional has. And it's good to keep updated on that. Keep a tab on what's going around in the professional environment as well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of finance clubs available, which students can be a part of, depending on the course they are applying for, or depending on the universities they are thinking of joining. So take advantage of that. Then when it comes to certifications, it all depends on which course you want to go for, what kind of technical expertise you want to get into. There are courses like CPA, CFA, like ACCA, like international MBAs available, which make you eligible to work in anywhere in the world. And it's totally just apart from having in higher education in India also, you can have these as add-on certifications also.
Yeah.
So that also helps. And on internships, I think I very strongly believe in one thing. A person, it's said that a person gets 10% of what a person sees, 20% of what they read, 30% of what they hear, and 70% of what they experience. So I think it's very important for any student, even as a part-time opportunity or as a full-time, how much ever you can manage. Make use of options available in MNCs, in Indian companies, when you're here or even outside. Take advantage of their internship programs, get into some kind of experience, on-job experience, which will go a long way. And you will feel the difference when you're out there working as a full-time professional. You'll see the difference in people who are amateurs coming right away after a certification, straight away to a full-time working environment, from a person who has had some kind of internship experience. So it always helps.
Maybe it also teaches you kind of professionalism.
Absolutely.
How to survive the corporate world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you become, better in communication, in, putting your thoughts across, or interpreting data, or, explaining things to someone who's, from a non-finance field, because you've seen that kind of environment and you know the nuances of the place.
Now I'm going to ask you about your personal journey. What inspired you to pursue finance as a career, and if you can share some turning points in your career?
Right. So I think I don't have a lot of chartered accountants, so to say, in my family. But yeah, I have seen my father, planning his finances brilliantly. I saw my uncle running a firm, a practicing chartered accountancy firm. So I think when you grow up in an environment like this, you see small things, and I always wanted to do something in numbers. I was good in numbers. I was good in maths and accountancy, and at that point in time, when I started pursuing this, I think there were very limited options for me. At that time, I didn't have access to, or I didn't have a lot of information about other options available, to be honest. So I fell into it and I started doing it well. I got a good internship program and I started liking it. From experience point of view, I started my internship in audit. Then I grew into accounting, and when I started working after getting the certification, I worked in different industries. And as you work along with Indian stakeholders, with international stakeholders, your exposure increases, and you sort of keep evolving yourself and grooming yourself as a professional. So I think from a turning point of view, there have been two major organizations I worked with. One was in a beauty industry, and one which I'm currently working with. These two have been major breakthroughs, I would say, from professional growth point of view. From the beauty industry experience, I got an opportunity to work with a manufacturing company. I saw the manufacturing side of it. I saw the trading side of it as well, and got an opportunity to work in financial analysis as well as audits. Then when I started working with Cordis, my current organization, here I got an opportunity to lead India finance. Along with that, I also manage Southeast Asian countries. So this kind of exposure where you are managing end-to-end, finance for a company, where you're budgeting, where you're analyzing, where you're business partnering with different stakeholders. You're also managing your legal entity accounting and auditing and financial statements. So the kind of exposure you get, that gives you a kick, right? I mean, I think a lot of people say that financial roles are very monotonous. I don't think that is how it is.
Yeah.
It's how you look at it and how you plan to evolve in the journey. So it's been amazing so far.
There is a saying everywhere we go that if we talk about finance people, it's all about Excel sheets, nothing else.
Not at all anymore. Thanks to AI.
But we always hear that. For us non-finance people, that's the thought process. If you say the word finance, and if you say a finance employee, then we'll say, oh, he's a fan of, or she's a fan of Excel sheet.
Right.
Just go to them and
Yeah, I mean,
ask for them.
I cannot survive without an Excel sheet.
See?
But along with that comes so many other things now. Yeah, I mean, now it's even more exciting, I feel. So this is the time to be in this field specifically.
Now, if you could share some of the key challenges that you faced early in your career and how did you push them?
I think it's a learning journey. When you start, you're a blank slate. Especially from the time I joined, I had no clue. I mean, now I feel that I should have been more prepared. I should have researched a little more on what I'm getting into, and maybe made myself more aware of the tools that were available at that time. That would have helped me. But yeah, I think initially I did face challenges in advanced Excel skills, so I had to develop that over time. Then growing up the ladder, 2 years, 3 years down the line, then you get into people managing roles. So you have to manage expectations, you have to manage office politics, and the corporate culture, so to say. So you learn, I think, over a period of time. You get thrashed also from the bosses. So yeah, I think everything is a part of your overall learning journey. And I had to face all of that everyone else faces as well. So yeah, I think that, but it's very important to take it in a positive light, take that as a productive criticism if at all that happens, because eventually if you go back and see what were you 10 years back and what are you right now, everything that has happened to you in that journey, in that experience, has definitely helped you shape up as a better professional. So yeah, I think that everything plays a very important role, even if it is a negative criticism.
In your experience, how can a candidate outshine in this field on a global stage?
Right. I think it's very important for any candidate to have a blend of, I think, technical expertise, your soft skills, which is very important but usually forgotten. And specifically, I'm talking about this from a finance field point of view. Very few people are there who are focusing on soft skills, or very few institutions are there who are actually focusing on soft skills. When you combine the technical expertise in terms of financial modeling skills, understanding of financial statements, analyzing, interpreting reports, all of that put together along with automation tools, understanding of basic ERPs which are commonly used in most of the organizations eventually, like SAP, like Oracle.
Yeah.
All of that put together from a technical expertise point of view, I think that definitely will help you a lot. Then I think from a global stage perspective, you need to have digital fluency. Global market perspective, I think it's very important for any candidate to have digital fluency in terms of being tech savvy,
Yeah.
updated on what's going on in the AI environment. Then you need to be updated on the IFRS, the gaps, the standards that are internationally used for accounting and reporting purposes. Yeah, and also I think having cross-cultural competence, understanding of global markets, their financial regulations is definitely going to give you an edge over others. Being aware of what's going around in the financial environment, what's going around in their economies, it's a good to have information which is always going to help you keep up.
Lastly, if you could recommend a book on finance to students and parents, plus your closing takeaways that students need to keep in mind in general.
Right, I think I'll just maybe merge the two things that you asked. From a takeaway point of view, I think first thing that I want to tell the students is, focus on personal finance first. Start with yourself. Start small and early on. And when I say that, I mean that you start with making financial goals for yourself, set budgets, track your expenses, and make small investments. That will basically help you take informed decisions, help you plan better, and well in advance. So that's one. And other thing is, I think it's a very less talked about thing in the past, but now people are talking about it. I think we should have been more aware of financial literacy. That is something that is missing, I think, in specifically when I'm saying it from the Indian environment point of view.
Sure.
I personally feel that it should be a part of school curriculums. It should
be.
be part of students' lives day in, day out. And even it's never too late to do that. I think there are so many books available. There are so many groups to help you out with financial literacy. There are so many people talking about it online. So take help of that. Join courses. There are free courses available. And be literate from a financial point of view in terms of how to invest, even if you start small. There is a very good book available. It's called Psychology of Money. I recommend every student to read that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lifelong investment, I feel, and everyone should invest in some time into that. So that, and apart from that, I think last thing I would want to say is keep your ears and eyes open. The AI environment is disrupting and it's evolving very fast. So be updated on that. Be aware of what's going around in the financial world globally, and keep learning. That's all.
Can I say that last point in 3 words? Be hungry for knowledge. In your
Absolutely,
words?
absolutely. Totally go with it.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely talking to you. I learned personally a lot today, and I'm going to read that book which you recommended. Maybe I will get finance literate a bit from this. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Dia. Thank you for having me.